Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocon and thank you for joining us. We are fortunate to live in a community where volunteerism rate is very high. We have a giving community, not only of time, but money as well. Today our topic is the Rochester Area Community Foundation. Jennifer Leonard is the Chief Executive Officer of the organization and she's here to tell us about the Community Foundation. Jennifer, welcome to It's About Money.
Thank you, Nanette. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us about the Rochester Area Community Foundation. What is it about?
Well, thank you. Nanette, we are one of the largest grant-making foundations in this area. And people have heard of foundations like the Ford Foundation or the Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But what distinguishes a community foundation is that it's made up of gifts from many different donors. We have more than 900 funds established by individuals, families, organizations, and businesses that all together make approximately $20 million in grants available to this region every year.
Oh, that's amazing, 20 million. What comprised the region? The Rochester Area Community Foundation is wider than the Rochester proper.
Yes, absolutely. We serve the 6 counties of Greater Rochester and have active grants in Wayne, Ontario, Livingston, Genesee, and Orleans counties, as well as Monroe.
How long has the Community Foundation been around?
We turn 35 next year, Nanette. That makes us a teenager in the realm of community foundations, which go back to 1914.
Oh,
The first community foundation was the brainchild of a banker who realized that his clients wanted to be like Andrew Carnegie and leave a foundation for their communities. But they weren't Andrew Carnegie in terms of the amount of money that they could leave. So he conceived of managing multiple charitable funds under one roof. The bank would get to invest the money, and that's what the bank wanted to do. And a committee of very conscientious, knowledgeable community leaders would help place the grant income into changing community needs, paying attention both to what the donor had wanted and how that could best be expressed in current times. So a fund for polio might today be working against AIDS or preparing for the avian flu. So community foundations are designed to last forever. We hold permanent endowment. Of our $200 million in total assets, nearly 3/4 of it is in permanently endowed funds that will give and give again forever in the names of their donors. That also means that every year we can count on grant income, and we're able, therefore, to take a long view of the community's needs and invest in very fundamental change in the community so that tomorrow will be better than today, and this community will have us as part of its resilience.
That's terrific. Give us some examples of some of the work the Community Foundation has done. I really should be referring to it as the Rochester Area Community Foundation, the work that it's done of recent times that has made an impact in the community.
Well, thank you, Nanette. We often work together with other organizations, individuals, families, companies, foundations, and we do that in part to make sure that we can have a larger impact. So one of the greatest pieces of work that I like to point to that the community foundations help this community start is in the field of early childhood education. In 1988, we received a Ford Foundation grant to help us address that community need. And at that time, most children were taken care of in custodial childcare. Even 4-year-olds were plunked in front of a television in a basement with no developmentally stimulating activities, no quiet place to read and learn to understand their letters and colors and get ready for the all-important work of kindergarten. Well, today, Rochester has one of the best early childhood systems in the country or Western Europe. And we know that because we've invested in the long-term research to look at that. It took a lot of people working together, and the Community Foundation was uniquely able to pull people together as diverse as Kodak, United Way, the small and medium-sized business leaders who wanted to support individual child care centers, and the governments, both the city school district and the Department of Social Services of Monroe County. Everyone had a part of the answer, a part of the solution, and we all made things change together. We agreed on some common community-wide goals, that we should have high quality, accessible child care, and enough child care for any 4-year-old to take advantage of it. And we have done that. We have raised the quantity, the quality, and the accessibility of child care, and we're very proud of that.
It should be. That's remarkable. That's fantastic, because it's really looking at the need of the overall community and all these organizations being pulled together to work on towards one common goal. That's fantastic. Thank you. What is the mission and vision of Rochester Area Community Foundation?
Nanette, we recognize that every gift that we make is made possible by somebody who was passionate about what they wanted to see accomplished in the community. So we reference them in our mission, and we say that we engage passionate philanthropists in improving our community. The vision is that over time, we will become Greater Rochester's catalyst for community change, positive change, long-term change, addressing those things that Rochester really needs to do to be the great community that we know it to be and that it has been at many times through its history.
Now, what makes a philanthropist? Typically, I think you mentioned Andrew Carnegie as one in the history of giving throughout the decades. Of course, Bill and Melinda Gates. But what about individuals like myself, the viewers, just ordinary people, I guess? How would they qualify as to be called as philanthropists?
What a great question, Nanette. Absolutely, everyone can be a philanthropist. What it takes is the desire to go beyond check writing to check thinking, if you will, strategically placing your money, and it may be a little bit of money or it may be a lot of money, in a way that you can perceive that there will be a difference. You can predict that there will be a difference. So it's easy to give a $50 gift to any charity, or a $25 gift, or a $10 gift. But taking the $50 and carefully giving it to, let's say, encourage a young person through a literary award to go on and create works of art, that's philanthropy. And it's not the money, although money is nice, and there are certainly large philanthropists like Bill and Melinda Gates, but lots of people work through community foundations like ours to express their interest in making things better and to work with us on strategies to do that. And we help them live that life as philanthropists. And people from every walk of life, Nanette, have done that with us. And we have enjoyed it, and the community has benefited from it. So passionate philanthropists and a better community. It's a great combination.
That's beautiful. That's terrific. So if someone was interested in being connected with the Rochester Area Community Foundation, there are several ways to do that. One way, of course, is the website.
The website is www.racf.org for Rochester Area Community Foundation.org, racf.org. And you can read all about us. You can look up our grant making and find out what we've been supporting. You can look at our annual report online, or you can sign up to be on our mailing list. You can also find out how to make a gift of your own. You may start a fund at the foundation with as little as $2,500 if you want to create a permanent endowment fund. We call it an acorn fund, with the idea that it's going to grow into a mighty tree over time. And you can add to it, and the income from that fund will benefit the community. And when it is large enough, if you wish, you can restrict its purposes to the arts or education, or to some specific charitable organizations that you want supported over the years. Or you can involve your family in giving. We have a lot of different ways that people can give through us, and they're all explained on the website. Another way, Nanette, that people find us is through their lawyer or financial advisor. I sometimes hear from people that they haven't heard of us before. And I like to think that we are getting out to more people, but the fact is that we're not something that millions of people have found out about. It's something that tens of thousands of people use. And across the country, it gets into the millions because there are 700 community foundations like ours across the U.S. alone, many more around the world. But because we don't always get the word out directly, we don't advertise in the Sunday newspaper, for example. We do work with lawyers and financial advisors whose clients may be in a position in their lifetimes to be interested in creating a philanthropic fund, a personal fund for giving, something that is smart to create in a particular tax year. Sometimes is how people get started, and then they discover the joy of organizing their giving, of thinking strategically about how they're going to give the next grant, about learning about the charitable sector. And many of our donors are also involved hands-on as volunteers in the work of our community.
Actually, as a financial advisor, many clients have approached me about doing some year-end tax planning, and we look at their portfolio and donate some highly appreciated securities to one of their funds, or to create a new fund, and they get the tax deduction and then have the ability to choose the charity that would receive it afterward, which I think is a very nice option.
Thank you. We have a lot of people who enjoy that option. We have more than half of our funds have families and individuals who are involved with us today in making recommendations on the grants that they make in the community. So they create the fund when it's convenient for tax purposes and for family and personal planning, and they have it there to use and to add to through the years, and often add to it by will. Another reason that lawyers and financial advisors are often involved is that we have a lot of planned gifts. People really understand this when they think about scholarship funds, about endowing a permanent scholarship fund, perhaps through a line in your will. We actually allow people to endow almost anything they want to do that's good for the community. So we have a fund for self-esteem and a fund for dairy farming education, as well as funds for dance, for music, for the environment, for healthcare, for aging. It really lets people express themselves.
That's fantastic. So if somebody wanted to create a fund, they could start an Acorn fund with $2,500 with the idea of building that up over time. And what a wonderful way to tell friends that if they're ever giving a gift and you have everything in the world you'd possibly like, to just make a donation to the Acorn fund.
We have had some wonderful family stories. There was a family with 9 children who got together secretly in honor of a big upcoming anniversary of their parents, and each gave to create a fund for their parents to be able to give out grants from. It was a beautiful, beautiful way to honor their parents. The funds at the foundation range in size from very small, when people are building them up, to the many millions. So we actually have a wonderful diversity of the community represented right within our foundation. One of the most interesting stories is that of a middle school librarian from Brighton who had taken care of her aging mother, and then in her own later years lived alone a little bit isolated in a cottage on Canisius Lake, a nice place to age, but nonetheless cut off from transportation and from people a lot of the time. So she left an inheritance that she had managed to take very good care of, and created a significant fund called the Muriel Marshall Fund for the Aging. Muriel Marshall was actually the donor's mother's name, and she left it in her honor. The donor, Roxanne Marshall, asked that we use the income from that fund to help seniors stay independent in their homes in Genesee County, where she had come from. And there are 11,000 seniors out of the 60-some thousand residents of Genesee County. And today, thanks to Roxanne Marshall, and to the work of the Community Foundation and a senior board that we work with of volunteers in Genesee County, we have a new transportation system that helps seniors get to whatever activities they want to go to. And we have friendly visiting by an ecumenical group of churches. We have library books being delivered door to door. And we have handy person service. We have repairs that can be done in the homes of the elderly, keeping them in place where they have friends, where they have familiar things around them. And I might add, for society, it's a good choice to keep seniors in their homes. It costs less, and it's far better quality of life for all of us.
Oh, that's terrific for the seniors at Genesee County. That's wonderful. So that's really thinking about, so there's no stopping somebody from thinking of something that would impact the community, something imaginative, and approaching the Rochester Area Community Foundation about it. I guess one of the beautiful things that happen, like in the Roxanne Marshall gift, is that it allows it to happen without her having to think about the structure of all that, because she was able to go to the Rochester Area Community Foundation, at least our attorneys did, upon her death, and create that wonderful system for seniors in that community.
That's right, Nanette. We take care of all of the hassle, if you will, of having a separate organization. If we take care of all the government reporting, we are audited every year, we take care of all of the bookkeeping, the accounting, even the check writing. But the check goes out with your name on the fund, and it goes out for the purpose that you've asked us to spend it on. And so you get all the joy of giving and none of the trouble or bother of worrying about how to structure it. Our investments are very good. We use an outside investment consultant and diversified stable of investment managers who do a wonderful job, and we're actually ahead of the markets for 1, 3, 5, and 10 years for our combined endowment. So we're pleased to deliver for philanthropy because it means it will be there in the future, and it will be able to keep up with inflation, and the donors' gifts will continue to hold their value.
And Jennifer, there's also a group of volunteers who oversee those investments, not managing them, but overseeing the managers as well. Right?
We have top financial minds who volunteer their time to make sure that our investments are well run. The retired treasurer of Bausch and Lomb is our new investment committee chair. And we're proud that somebody can move from billions to millions and take excellent care of what the community's savings account really looks like, because that's what we provide for this community, is a long-term savings account for the future.
That's a nice way to put it, a savings account for the community to benefit the citizens of that community over time. So even an organization, a charitable organization today, there's a lot of charitable organizations in our community. So if they have a fund that they have to take care of themselves, manage the reporting, the tax reporting and all that, they could actually approach the Rochester Area Community Foundation about having those funds managed and not worrying about the administration of all that.
That's right, Nanette. And we've had a number of existing private foundations fold into the Community Foundation to be at the point where they're ready to have somebody else administer the investments and help them with the administration of the actual grant making, but keeping the ability, if they wish, to make recommendations, to choose grants, to continue the interest areas that they have had in the past. And we have a fund that helps educate National Guard children for the National Guard units that are associated with the Culver Road Armory. And that foundation went back far longer than our foundation has been around. So we're a convenient way for funds that benefit this community, and by that I mean all 6 counties, to be administered economically, efficiently, and effectively under one roof.
And then from an individual perspective, there are volunteers who help manage or administer those funds today. It would be a better thing for them to do to use the organization and remove the liability, the fiduciary liability from individuals volunteering to manage and administer, and shift that to an organization that has all the expertise and the functionality of taking care of all those reporting requirements.
permanent stewardship, and stewardship in particular, is a hallmark of community foundations, Nanette, and that's really what people are turning to us for in that case. That's right. It's not something you should do as an amateur necessarily to run a foundation. There are liabilities, and we can help with structuring it in a way that it will be successful. We hold more than 90 scholarship funds, hundreds of funds that are for the general benefit of the community, many of them, as I said, with active givers attached and very much working alongside us. Together, all of those funds make a great difference in the community, but it's at the core of it, they are well taken care of, and because we want them there for the future.
Now, where is the foundation located?
Oh, we're at 500 East Avenue, Nanette. Thank you. Right catty corner from Third Presbyterian Church on East Avenue, in one of the old homes in the historic district there that we're proud to help take care of because it's a part of Rochester's history. And speaking of history, we recently received a bequest from a man who was a local historian, wrote for the Irondequoit Post, and he left a bequest for historic information and preservation, and we've been able to make grants for many, many local purposes that preserve the special history of Rochester in the areas of freedom, the history of Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass, for example, the water history of Rochester with the Erie Canal and the Genesee River. Our elementary school children are going out, even as we speak, on the Mary Jemison riverboat, learning about the history of the river and of the Erie Canal, and learning about Rochester's special place in history.
That's great. We're so pleased that the Rochester Area Community Foundation is around to serve Rochester, and that's wonderful. And you have a team of expert staff members at the foundation and also volunteers, right?
We are very blessed, Nanette, that we have both excellent staff and volunteers, and we rely on them for the expertise and the wisdom to manage the funds that are donated to us, to work with donors to help them realize what they want to accomplish in the community, and to leverage our grants into powerful results in the community, so that we can make the kind of impact that we need, that a donor can reasonably expect when they make a gift to us, that there will be an impact in the community because of that gift. So we have actually a pretty lean staff. Our costs are 1% of our assets, and that means that we have about 18 people on staff, full-time equivalent. Several of them are focused on the community. Their work is to receive applications from community organizations that may be interested in getting grant funds for outstanding projects, and the staff are responsible for helping review and recommend which may be the best uses of our grant funds, and putting together portfolios of grants in several priority areas. Early childhood is one, but we now are working with after-school program quality as well. And in the area of civic engagement, getting people connected to each other and to their families, and to their government. And those three areas have regular grant cycles that are announced by email to prospective grant seekers, and are also posted on our website regularly. So you can find out best about how to get a grant or a scholarship from us by going on our website, looking up grants and scholarships, and you'll find you can even plug in by subject and see what may be available for if your organization works on education or in healthcare or with children. You can look up and see if there are any grant competitions in the near future that you can apply for through us.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer.
Sure.
So have just our viewers go to www.racf.org.
Exactly. Thank you, Nat.
So other ways to know about the organization is through financial advisors, attorneys, perhaps their accounts as well, or they can call the foundation. Would you repeat the phone number for the foundation, please?
Yes, we're in the 585 area code, and our number is 271-484-5555. 4100, 271-4100. And I encourage people to drop by. Just park in the back, that's our main entrance, and come on and take a visitor spot and come on in, pick up an annual report, greet us, and let's see if we can't make some good philanthropy together.
Excellent, thank you. This is one of the reasons why Rochester is one of the best places to live. Thank you, Jennifer Leonard, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Nanette.
And thank you, our viewers, for joining us today. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me at nnocon@aol.com. Until next time, I'm Nanette Nocon.
Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please email Nanette at nnocon@aol.com. Following production was produced through Penfield Community Television in Penfield, New York.